Anthony West knows a thing or two about the School of Hard Knocks, although he's graduated to much bigger and better things these days. The Roanoke native and father of two spent time in prison on drug-related charges, but since his release, West has decided to make a difference. He's now the director of programs and training for Virginia Cares, a statewide organization which strives to help ex-offenders mainstream back into the community. West oversees 13 sites and supervises more than 20 staff members for VA Cares, which provides transitional assistance, financial aid, job training, career development, and other ongoing support for ex-offenders, prisoners, and their families in Virginia. West, now working on a bachelor's degree in social work from Radford, serves on several local boards and is one of 30 creative connectors chosen last year in Roanoke, tasked to come up with ways to attract and retain more of the creative class in the Star City.
Anthony West, welcome to the interview.
Thank you.
Before we talk a little bit about your background, you've got an interesting background, of course, native Roanoker. Talk about Virginia Cares, the organization you work for. And I guess Virginia Cares started as an offshoot of Total Action Against Poverty.
Yes, sir. Virginia Cares is a statewide nonprofit organization that is designed to help men and women who are being released from institutions. It's trying to help them become more of a well-rounded citizen.
Mm-hmm.
We help them with services like employment, education, housing, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. How old is Virginia Cares, by the way?
Virginia Cares has been around 30, 31 years.
Okay, so it's been around a while. And it does seem like you'd want to really help ex-offenders when they come out to fill in the gaps and get them going again. Exactly. It does seem, though, that that's always a problem, though. Even with what you're doing, is it always just an issue, Anthony? Making sure that these people can mainstream back into society. Yeah,
there's always an issue when it comes to dealing with ex-offenders here in the state of Virginia, in particular. One of the issues that we're dealing with now is one of the more prevalent issues is housing. How do we get these folks housed? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the main issues we're dealing with. And, society and the communities as a whole looks at ex-offenders in a negative light. Mm-hmm. So my program and myself as program director, what we try to do is try to shed a little bit more light on the fact that ex-offenders are people, and mm-hmm. they do need assistance as well.
Mm-hmm. Ex-offenders, when they fill out an application for housing or for a job, they're kind of caught in a conundrum there because I'm sure they want to be truthful, but yet right. if they put, okay, I was an ex-felon on an application, there's probably a tendency to kind of shy away from those people.
Right, and we found that to be a big problem. There's an organization out of the Bay Area, out in California, out of San Francisco, that's trying to ban that box on some applications, where if one of our participants go fill out an application, there's always this box, have you been convicted of an ex-felon? Been convicted of a crime. Mm-hmm. And what that organization is doing is advocating to try to take that question off applications to give our people and ex-offenders around the country a better opportunity to maybe get a job.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that the rate of recidivism, if I got that word right.
Recidivism, correct.
The rate of people returning to jail, because they come out, there's no options for them, they don't see opportunity. That's something that, of course, Virginia Cares is really focused on.
Right. And that's one of the problems that we're facing. Society, like I stated earlier, society as a whole has a tendency of looking at ex-offenders in a negative light. We're trying to crush that whole idea of looking at ex-offenders. We want them to realize that ex-offenders are citizens. They are coming home out of these institutions, and they will need our help.
They did their time.
They paid mm-hmm. their debts to society. So I think it's only natural that we give them opportunity to participate mm-hmm. in the democracy mm-hmm. and be have the opportunity to become tax-paying good citizens.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about your background. Of course, this is an issue you can speak of from the heart, Anthony. You're a father of two, native Roanoke. I think you went to Fleming High School?
Patrick Henry High School.
And you spent time behind bars.
Correct. I went to, I was sentenced in 1993 to state corrections for a drug-related charge. I spent pretty close to 3 years, I think 34 months incarcerated. So I came home in March of 1996. Mm-hmm. And when I came home, I was lucky to have an organization like Virginia Cares in place because I am a participant and a graduate of Virginia Cares. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, Virginia Cares, when you were in prison, did they come into the prison with programs as well?
Right. Okay. What Virginia Cares, they offer pre-release services. They go inside of institutions, I think it's 27 27 institutions we go inside the state of Virginia and kind of like let the inmates there or people who's about to be released know about Virginia Cares and the services we provide. Just kind of like give them an update of what's out there and what's offered once they do come on.
When you were in prison, did you have a revelation, or did you just decide you were going to change your life? I mean, it doesn't happen to everybody when they come out.
Well, I mean, being incarcerated is only pretty much basically two things you can do. Either you can do your time or let the time do you. I decided to do my time. You know, I decided to constructively come up with plans and goals to make myself better. One thing about being incarcerated, it gives a person an opportunity to reflect back on what he or she has done in the past and what they can do to kind of like change those behaviors. So I took the opportunity, I call it opportunity because that's what it was to me. I took the opportunity to kind of like reflect back on my life, get myself together, kind of like, you know, I read a lot, I studied a lot, just try to come up with a viable plan of what I can do to make Anthony West a better person.
How do Virginia prisons and jails do overall, Anthony, as far as, you know, providing those type of opportunities to inmates? Do they do a good job? Do they need more Virginia Cares organizations being involved? Do they need more programs, or are these available to the majority of inmates?
Well, back in 1993, from 93 to 96, I know when I was in there, they offered college courses, they offered programs, and I think here lately, probably about maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, they quit doing college courses and things like that, things that will encourage people that's incarcerated to want to do better. I think overall, if I had to say, I would say that there need to be more programs in institutions right now. Institutions are more like, got the mindset of kind of like just incarceration, no rehabilitation going on right now. And I think in the last 2 years, I would think that with programs like Virginia Cares and other programs that's designed to do offender reentry, I think it's a good idea that we go in and we do the services that we do.
What do ex-felons, people getting ready to be released, what do they want first and foremost, Anthony? Do they want housing? Do they want jobs? Do they want, what do they want, in your opinion?
In my opinion, the foremost employment. But a lot of times what I'm seeing now is people that's coming out, they need proper documents to get employment. They need Social Security cards. They need DMV IDs. They need things like that, and we're finding it difficult to get those documents right now. So I would say pretty much the documents are the foremost thing that they need when they get out.
And some of these kids, some of these people, if they're young adults, may have never had a lot of this in place before they went in, or just never went after it.
Exactly, never had them.
Describe, now how long have you been working for Virginia Cares?
I started working for Virginia Cares in 2000. I started working for TAP in 2000. TAP has this Virginia Cares program. But right now, as far as working with Virginia Cares Incorporated at the state level, I've been there since 2007.
Okay, and of course you rely on state funding.
Yeah,
and
criminal justice services.
Right. Now, is it a budget line item, or do you have to go to bat every year or two in Richmond to get your money?
Well, pretty much right now it's a budget line item. But we still advocate. When we get a chance, we advocate to General Assembly. We let them know of the importance of our program and the importance of us getting funding to assist these men and women when they get out.
Now, Virginia Cares has, what, 13 sites around the...
13 sites across the state.
And you travel the whole state?
I travel the whole state.
And talk about your job. You're the director of, I guess, programs and training. Talk about what you do.
Well, basically what I do is, like I just stated, we have 13 sites across the state, and it's primarily my job as program director to travel to each of these sites and make sure that these sites are adhering to all the Virginia Cares rules and regulations. You know, I monitor these 13 sites with the assistance of my MIS coordinator, Susan Elliott Reed. We go around from site to site, just monitoring, making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing.
And of course, the number one goal is to help ex-offenders.
The number one goal is to help ex-offenders, always.
Yeah, I know that over this past summer, Virginia Cares took part in the Voices for the Vote rally.
Exactly.
This was really espousing the benefit of allowing ex-felons to get back on the voter rolls and to vote. Talk about that, because that's something you went through. You were disenfranchised. You were not able to vote for a while. Talk about that whole process.
Exactly. What we try to do with the Voices to Vote is to bring awareness to disenfranchised individuals in the state of Virginia. We feel like that once a person has done their time, paid their debt to society, they should be automatically granted the right to participate in the democratic process as far as voting. You know, what better way to make a person feel part of the process than to give him or her the restoration of rights to vote again. We think that's very important. We think that would make them feel a part of the process and encourage them to want to do better.
I guess right now there's a whole petitioning process or a whole process that it seems to some people it seems very difficult in order to get that in place.
Some of the things you have to do, some things I did personally to get your rights back, you have to petition the governor. And to petition the governor, you have to have some requirements put in place, and some of the requirements are you have to have been out of, paid all of your fines, get all your restitution paid. If you've been convicted of a violent offense, you have to wait 5 years. Non-violent offense, you wait 3 years. Now you have to have, like I stated earlier, you have to have all your fines paid. You cannot have been in any trouble within that time period. And once you feel that you qualify, you know, you got to get some documents from your probation parole officer, get all these documents together, get a package together, fill an application out, and send an application out to the governor. And usually the process, at one time, the process took anywhere from 9 to 12 months to hear back from the governor. But here lately, Governors Warner and Governor Skane has been speeding up the process, and you know they've been granting citizens their voting rights back a little quicker.
Right, and you'd like to see that?
Yeah, I would like to see that continue.
We've got a couple more minutes. Just a couple quick things. Based on your experience, Anthony, are there a lot of people with wasted potential that wind up in jail because they don't get the opportunities or they don't get the right constructive? Right.
And we find that to be the case. Pretty much, a lot of people that's being incarcerated, they don't have the opportunities. You know, we as a community we have to find ways to develop opportunities for these young men and women to keep them from going down that track of crime, living crime lifestyles. We got to try to find a way to encourage them to want to do better. And I think we can do that by opportunities. I know Total Action Against Poverty, TAP, Community Action Agents, they provide a lot of opportunities. This Valley Works program, wonderful program to assist young men and women to get their GEDs, try to get them back on the right track. Programs like that.
And of course, Albert, you're back on the right track. You're working on your bachelor's degree from Radford in addition to everything else you're doing.
Yeah.
Real quickly, you were chosen last year as one of the creative connectors. Roanoke City chose 30 people. I was one of them actually, but creative connectors chosen one of 30 people, looking to to look at what it might take to bring more people to Roanoke or make it an attractive place for the creative class. Talk about being, with your background, being picked for part of that group.
Okay, I was first of all, I want to say I was honored. You know, I was honored that the city of Roanoke would chose me as one of the 30 people, and I think just my experience and my background, I bring a different perception to the group. You know, as I looked around the group, I noticed that I was probably the only person in the group that had been incarcerated. So just having the background of being incarcerated, I think I brought a different perception to the group. You know, and I shared my views, and you know, everyone in the group, you know, they honored my views, and you know, they took a look at them, and we decided, okay, you got some good views, good points, and we just worked together collaboratively to try to, like you said, come up with plans to keep people here in the city of Roanoke.
And it looks like with your background and everything going forward, you're trying to make a difference in people's lives.
Yeah, exactly. I always did. I want people to look at me and see that, you know, just because you've made mistakes, you've been incarcerated, you know, a lot of negatives going on, there's no reason to hold you back. You know, if you just get in the right mindset that we really want to change your life and put forth an effort and take advantage of opportunities and the programs and services that are out there in the community, anyone can change their life.
Anthony West from the Virginia Cares Organization, thank you very much for coming on. It's been great. I told you I'd get you on this show.
You did. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem. This is the interview. I'm Gene Marrano. We'll be right back.